Hey guys, it's the Crypto Sniper. Yep. Occasionally I come across kind of videos that just really annoy me and they need some pushback for people to understand and have some integrity in this space. There is often a lot of straw man arguments, weird gaslighting that goes uncalled, unpulled, especially by the likes of the multimillionaire, maybe billionaire type that speak with unrelenting confidence about aspects surrounding the future. So I'm going to just refer to a tweet here that's been put out by Vivek for real. Being all in on Bitcoin is not about having conviction. It's just rational thinking. Okay, so that's the statement we've got here. I want to just play this clip. It's a short minute 38 and just help people develop how you need to listen to arguments and how you need to pick apart the vile propagandists. And politicians pull this garbage all the time. Central bankers pull this garbage all the time. And when I see this, I assume weapon of state, because it's almost as if these techniques have a commonality in terms of the people who utilize them. And rather than making me more bullish Bitcoin, and I am not an anti-Bitcoin, so you know, if you criticize the certain countries' policies, for example, you get called anti. Fill in the magic word there that I'll avoid saying. And if he gets to respond to my critique here of him, he'll say I'm anti-Bitcoin. I'm not actually anti-Bitcoin. I talk about a stable of horses and the utility of having a fast horse and a utility of having an entire stable of horses, because horses go lame. That's my analogy. Let's listen to this section and help you learn how to break down. Many of you will be able to see this all for yourselves, but how to break down straw man arguments as presented by Michael Saylor here, the big chief silverbeard, silver fox, graybeard, multi-millionaire man behind an all-singing cheerleader behind Bitcoin.
Not think for themselves, you know?
So it actually starts, people don't think for themselves. Let's get that right in. So what he's going to demonstrate is now, apparently in his mind, people thinking for themselves. Let's hear it.
Not think for themselves, you know? You're on a ship, the ship is sinking, there's 10 boats in front of you. One of the boats doesn't have a hole in it. The other 9 boats have holes in them. You got 10 members in your family. Are you going to put one kid in each of the 9 boats or the like? Or are you going to put everybody in the boat that doesn't have the hole in it?
So what he's actually done is he's actually starting with future. So financial aspects and financial planning is all about the future. It's all about what could happen in an unknown environment of probabilities and possibilities. We understand and we largely agree that there is a big boat that is sinking, and that is the debt-based financial system. But so you think he's on your team because he never stops making arguments for what's largely established and agreed and we've understood for the better part of 30 years. However, in terms of the solution, he presupposes that you have all these options. Let's call them 10 options. They all immediately self-evident. For some reason, all these options are floating as boats, as options for you, even though 9 of them already have holes. So the holes must have recently just been put in. And he has that knowledge about the future presupposed and given to him as if it's 100% fait accompli already. So in the straw man argument that he's created, he's already given you the data that only one is a winner, and it happens to be the one that he is cheerleading for, and everything else, gold, silver, platinum, real estate unencumbered by a mortgage, farmland unencumbered by finance and debt. All these are hold ships. All these other possibilities, other metals, copper, a functioning business that is counter-cyclical to major recessions and depressions. All these other things are hold boats. So if you assume that hypothesis from the beginning, it's quite easy to know the future because you've already assumed the future as being now.
Okay, so you come to that level of conviction, which is intoxicating, by the way.
It's not conviction. It's not conviction. It's just rational thinking for yourself. Are you moving?
Conviction. His conviction is that he's presupposed the outcome already and brought it forward as a known fact today, where it in fact isn't a known fact today, that everything else is garbage. In short, he's in a mono world. He's in a mono world where there can only be one solution. There is only one token that will serve any purpose and any use. There's only one item that will ever retain any form of value, even though it happens to be one of the most volatile underlyings that has regularly lost 80%. And when it loses that 80% of value, it's usually in times of crises before the next quantitative easing. And that's most likely when you most need your money, and it's going to be at its lowest possible value. God forbid you have a little bit of a lumbering tortoise that doesn't go up as fast, but doesn't lose 80% and actually lose 5% in those crisis moments when you most need your money. Like the banking system, they're always handing out umbrellas until it rains. They want them all back as the rain comes. And that's when you need the item most, during the tough times, not while it's all fun and games. Quantitative easing is coming back in the system. Inflate, inflate, inflate. So the podcaster has not called the bullshit in this assumption, that he immediately presupposed the entire outcome with the mono solution. There's only one thing that will work, all else dies.
Your entire family to Zimbabwe right now because you have conviction?
Where is he going? What does that mean? Take your whole family to Zimbabwe right now because you have conviction. What is he actually saying? Is that to be a parallel scenario and a metaphor for Bitcoin? People not taking their families to Zimbabwe? Let me tell you a small fact about Zimbabwe. I've just come back from there. Beautiful place to ride, unbelievable scenery. If you're a bent guy that's buying dark gold, dark platinum, you've got corrupt politicians on your side, it's a great place to be. Let me tell you, you're selling all your gold, you're making millionaires. There are people becoming millionaires right now in Zimbabwe. The notion that all people will have all the same experiences, all boats were the same. In his boats analogy, all boats were the same. But hold on, Bitcoin needs power. Bitcoin needs interwebium. And what's likely potentially to happen in zombie apocalypse? You could have infrequent power and you could have infrequent mobile network, internet network. Plus, Bitcoin is a hyper surveillance tool. Well, does gold lose its value or become untradeable when the power is switched off? No, I'll take your gold coins for services all day long. Sunshine, night, power on, power off, mobile network on, mobile network off, internet on. So actually, rather than 10 all the same boats, you actually have an oil tanker, you have a liquefied gas carrier, you have a speedboat, Bitcoin. You have a hovercraft, you have a different boat. Rather than having holes, they all function in terms of the functionality. We can't presuppose what they'll do. Take the speedboat to get off the main boat. It may not have the range to get you to the next island. You'll be the fastest out the blocks. Oh yeah, but when you need it most and you're embalmed and becalmed in the middle of the Pacific and you've got no more fuel, how's that speedboat working now? What about that boat analogy? If you want some energy and some oil in the land that you land in to drive industry and factories, if you want to have a bigger boat that can survive a massive tidal wave in case of a storm, how about that? How's your speedboat doing in that environment? Wrong analogy. Presupposed outcome where everything is utility standard the same. Gold is not real estate. Real estate is not Bitcoin. Bitcoin is not any one of the other tokens either. So the entire strawman nature and simplification, this is like C-grade debating Jedi mind trick BS that's being pulled, and he's not getting called on it. People are utterly intimidated by people that are at the top. They're CEOs, they speak at big conferences, they get this overarching arrogance of absolute, listen, it's me talking now and this is how it is type confidence that big money tends to do and have when people are there. This is utter straw man arguments. Let's hear some more from the super Chad for Bitcoin, the mono solution king, Michael Saylor.
Or let me reverse it. Why is it that you don't move?
We were going to Zimbabwe, or we're not going to Zimbabwe. Okay, let's Let's try understand that completely arbitrary random outcome. And as I've already explained, there are instances where it will be a very good place to be. If you know how to operate in corrupt systems, it's sitting on platinum, it's sitting on gold, it's sitting on everything. China has no problem being in Zimbabwe, by the way. Doesn't mean it's a great place for you if you're going to go look for a job in industry and you're expecting to earn the minimum wage. That's a retail assumption. There's many different aspects.
Move your entire family to Zimbabwe, sell all your stuff, and buy the Zimbabwe dollar. Why is it that you don't?
False construct. Actually, Zimbabwe runs on the US dollar. You'll be paid in US dollars. You don't want to use their banking system, by the way. They'll take 25% straight off the top. But another false construct and lack of knowledge of instruments. I happen to know people that are doing exceedingly well in Zimbabwe, but they aren't the conventional variety.
Don't do that. Because of conviction, or just because it seems quite obvious to you that's not a good idea?
It's only obvious if you're going there as a retail normie, where you might be in an environment where you'll be subjected to forces that are not conducive for retail normies.
I won't say that conviction is when you don't do something, but when you go all in on something, I would say that does take conviction. Now, your conviction might be
how many
coming from
chairs
first
are you
principles.
sitting on right now?
So again, he's attempting a degree of pushback here by saying conviction is when belief systems see you mono-solution, there is only one thing. This talks of machismo. I'm all in. This is poker all stars. Shove all those chips. You're a man. Big testicles. Stuff it all on. You're going to win this next hand. You've got a royal flush. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. This is the machismo. It is not the grains of money management. It is not the seeds of capital preservation. It is not mindfulness of uncertainty, possibilities and probabilities surrounding the future. This is, I know better, absolute belief system thinking.
Now,
One.
are you all in on the chair sitting on right now?
One.
How many chairs are you sitting on right now? Let me ask you, how many chairs are you sitting on? Only one? What? You're only sitting on one? Why aren't you diversified? Because, Michael, we're talking about a simple fact of physics and utility in the present sense. The bench I'm sitting on is on a floor that is broadly not moving, almost 100% guaranteed to not move, and the bench is suitably structured physically to take my weight. As a result, for utility in the present, it is a safe bet for me to have one. Talking about the future with multiples of outcomes, geopolitical events, potential power losses, interwebium downs, and many of the things I've already referred to, which is completely unknown and not based on hard physical facts, is the difference between utility of the here and now involving physics and in the present versus totally unknown possibilities and probabilities in highly variable, volatile financial markets. But somehow, Michael, you get to conflate the two as the same. Let's listen some more.
Are you all in on the chair?
No,
I'm
Michael.
all in on the chair.
We're all in on physics.
Like the point really is you put on one pair of glasses, you've got one pair of AirPods right now. You're looking at me through one screen. You're using one microphone. That's a one microphone. Like, you trust it? Is that conviction? Seems kind of scary. Why don't you diversify? Why don't you use 10 microphones?
Okay, so now he lists many other utility items with near 100% performance record and says, why aren't you on 10 microphones? I'm only using one microphone. You see, Michael, this microphone, providing it's not bashed and smashed, has near 100% performance. And in fact, the marginal utility cost of spending another 400 euros to have a second one means more carry space, means ineffective financial, because the cost of that 400 euros to cover for 0.0000001 that suddenly this microphone stops working is non-economic. And in fact, to have 10 microphones would actually require 9 microphone failures, which is probably more likely to happen if you have to carry around 10 in multiple of cases than it is if you just start with one. We're talking about something with a near 100% performance, providing it is reasonably looked after, for which the utility cost of adding every significant extra microphone does not add that financial value to my ability to perform. That is the reason I use one microphone, Michael. It's called economic utility. Its performance is good. I also don't drive 10 cars, even if I could teleport myself in 10 different cars in 10 different times, even though one might have an accident and I could die, and then I could just be in the other 9. You see, Michael, this is kind of stupid.
The point really is things in your life. Did you drive in 10?
Oh, I think he was about to say, do you drive in 10 cars? He maybe was going to come to my interesting notion. So here is someone who is gaslighting and he knows it. The problem is the podcaster not pulling him on it. This guy is smart enough to know that he is baking in a completely contrary and fake example. He assumes the eventual success of only his choice of asset, which happens to have an extremely high volatility to the upside in good markets, and when you need it most, extremely high volatility to the downside. This has been proven since 2009 when it was first launched. Incredibly high volatility, and the synchronization of those dips when most of your money is at its lowest value is when you're most likely to need that money to pay rent, buy food, and do everything else. And he is single-handedly essentially debunked all risk-adjusted return theory and diversification, portfolio theory, and a number of other things. This is the super Chad of Bitcoin, currently talking to masses of young, easily influenced people that thinks, Mikey, he's a rich man. Mikey, he's a rich man. Me do like Mikey. He says, of course it's rational. Bitcoin's going to win. Well, if you assume it's the only one winning as part of your parable in the 10 boat scenario where all the 10 boats were equal, the 9 of them were floating somehow with holes in them and they have no different properties, of course you're going to probably get to the outcome that Mikey wants you because he's assumed it as part of his primary scenario. This is the kind of stuff that infuriates me. People that seek truth, people that wish legitimate debate and real arguments. This is for someone who sees a role for Bitcoin to be played and actually seeing this kind of cheerleader that has a very control structure-y spin propaganda style makes me actually more concerned and more likely to sell off a lot when we make the 47.5K. It is other cryptos exist. They also do things quicker, faster for less. By the way, in terms of transaction, in terms of store of value, it's the longest standing. Oh, that would be 24 to 2009. Okay, it's about 15 years, Mikey. 15 years you've been around. Let us know when you've done 30,000 years. No, not 3,000, 30,000. There's evidence, gold and silver were used to store values way, way, way back. But let's say 3,000 is the official. Let's say governments aren't surveilling everything you do on the blockchain that now makes everything you buy and sell a matter of public record for neighbors, government agencies, and everybody else in the surveillance system. This is, as I say, an exact example of why these guys get a free ride. We need proper interviewers that go, Michael, what a bunch of twaddle you just said there. You pre-assumed the mono solution outcome as part of your theory. Of course, if we all know only one boat's making it, we're not putting family members in the other boat. Well, Mikey, you've been to the future and you're telling us all how it is, and what happens to gold? All confiscated, suddenly becomes worthless. Something for multiple use. Well, I'll have myself a solid gold chair. Guess what? It's super conductive. It will do away with all the Wi-Fi and stuff that's bouncing around. My bed will be made in solid silver. Silver's therapeutic. I'll have free solar panels, or certainly lower cost solar panels driving all my energy needs, with all these things that are hold boats in the world of Michael Saylor. Anyway, thank you very much for the support of the channel. Let's keep calling out those that come with straw man arguments and make utter nonsense proclamations. Let's demand our podcasters do not tolerate absolute gibberish, Jedi mind tricks of a C grade level. Until I catch up with you later, you do need a stable of horses. Portfolio theory does have value. Risk adjusted, where risk represents the degree of volatility, is important, especially if that risk is synchronized with chronic downturns and you're going to be in an absolute low during those moments through organized, maybe manufactured, maybe not, random outcome, demand destroying events. Because everyone else becomes a seller, you can't hold it up at $47,500 or $40,000. Until next time, we look forward to chatting to you. Enjoy your New Year's responsibly, safely, be bouncy, health, and strong. Bouncy, healthy, and strong. He thinks he said. Bouncy, healthy, and strong. Be prepared. You are going to run an obstacle course. We're here to help you with that. Be prepared. Preparation is mental fortitude and positivity in crazy times. Be a leader, a junior leader amongst others, calling out the little lies that are being perpetuated by the likes of these super Chad leaders. Till next time, bye for now.